Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dave Guerra. This is the Weekly Leader, and you know the premise: 2 stories, 1 leadership issue, and let's dive right in. Let's get started. All right, so rip from the headlines again, as always. We try to, at least. The first one here is all about that escaped convict and the corrections officer in Alabama, Florence, Alabama, that helped them escape. Florence, Alabama is not the name of the officer. It's very coincidental that they both share the same last name. But that's beside the point. The situation here is, real briefly, if you have not been keeping up with what's going on, corrections officer helped a convict or a convicted felon escape. And they're on the run together, on the lam. That's it. People are hunting them down. It's a nationwide manhunt now. And at the time, they weren't too sure what was going on. How did this all transpire? How did this happen? Then as the news comes out and more investigation goes on, it turns out that these two were having a relationship for the past couple of years. And down near the end, I guess they were putting a plan together. Down near the end, the corrections officer, female, she was helping, she sold her home, she was making some, she was just doing some activity that on the surface doesn't look like anything major, but then now that she did help that individual escape, under the guise of taking him to the courthouse, they ditched the vehicle, the police vehicle, then they took off on another smaller vehicle, then somehow something happened to that vehicle. Now they could be anywhere. And that's the long story. The short thing here is the thing to remember or to understand as a leader is to know that, yes, you can do background checks on individuals. Yes, you can do psychological tests on individuals. You can kind of profile your employees, your individuals, the people that you work with. You kind of know who's who'll do what they do. And you've got to know your individuals. You've got to know your members of your team. You have no choice. But what goes on in their mind, what their motives are, what their motivation is, what they are capable of doing should not come as a surprise to anybody, because at any moment, anyone is capable of doing anything. There we go. So, but, now everybody's armchair quarterbacking, and it's like, well, I never saw this coming, but now we're putting the pieces together, and we should have seen the red flags. I understand that. And yes, the red flags are there. They're always there. But again, to what degree is someone capable of going to? Now, I'm not saying that we need to start running an AI and some artificial intelligence program that creates the Minority Report. If you're familiar with that, the Minority Report is kind of one of those predictive. It's a story. It's one of those applications programs that could predict the ability of an individual to do something wrong, to break the law before they break the law, before they actually break the law. And in the Minority Report, the movie, the book, it talks about how these individuals are kind of arrested beforehand, before they actually commit the crime. And it's like, well, wait a minute, but that's not who I am, but yet I'm being punished for something I haven't done, all because we bought into this system that says it could be done. So that's what I'm saying is, no, we're not looking at something like that, but understand that if it happens in one place, what's to say that it's not happening someplace else? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so it's one of those situations that, yes, we're not talking about escaped convicts 100% of the time, but if somebody's capable of doing something bad in one place, one workplace, somebody somewhere else is probably coming up with that same idea and ready to execute on that idea. So again, there's nothing that should stop you as leaders as to check in on your employees, check in on them, see how they're doing, see how things are going for them. How's everything good? They're remote. How are they functioning? Is all good there? Are they back in office? How are they adapting and coming back to the office? Again, communication. Leaders, initiate the line of communication. Initiate that conversation. Because I guarantee you, if somebody had just taken time to talk to that individual, that corrections officer, they would have been able to peel back a couple of layers and see the red flags firsthand, not hindsight, which is always 20/20. So again, pay attention to what's going on. Head on a swivel, 360 degrees, situational awareness. And leaders, part of that situational awareness is actually talking to your team. So get out there and talk to your team. All right, next one. NowRX, and I've seen these ads have been popping up everywhere on YouTube, on the internet, on web pages. They're popping up. NowRX. Apparently, it's this company. They are trying to raise funds. They're trying to get investors in, another round of funding before they want to go public. And what it is they want to expand, and they want to bring their form of prescription medication deliveries, their delivery system. They have a new one. And folks, it's nothing new. I've talked about it. Well, not the NowRX, but the concept behind that. It's an automated system where basically the doctor or whoever can prescribe medication, they will digitally enter that into the system. Then the system begins fulfilling the order. Robotics are involved. Robots go up and use their little mechanical arms to withdraw the pills, and then they digitally count them, and then it processes it, labels it, puts it in the bottle, and off it goes. Then it gets delivered. It's pretty interesting. Now, I've talked about that concept for years in the sense that if those individuals in those fields are not doing something now to stay ahead, then when the replacement unit, the replacement robot arrives, they're going to get exactly what they deserve. And folks, I first came across something like this was way back, a couple years back, in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, there was this bar, and it was a robotic bar. So you could step up, enter your order, and the robotic arms would go and pull the vodka and pull the blue curacao, and then pull in the ice. Is it crushed or cubed ice, whatever you called for, mixes up the drink, and then delivers it to you robotically. There's no human interaction. No human interaction. Because again, the robot knows where the vodka is, the robot knows where the blue curacao is, the vodka knows where the crushed ice is or how it's made, where the cubed ice is kept. Again, it's all, and it knows how to measure. So there we go, the beginning of the end for the bartenders. Now we see it at McDonald's, where you step up to the kiosk and you enter, you turn around, and of course, yeah, there's a human being cooking the food, but that's just a matter of time, because don't forget, it's all pre-cooked when it arrives there. So they've got to do the assembly. But at some point, you step up so that individual that's, hi, how may I help you? Well, there's still some out there, but for the most part, they're getting replaced by those walk-up kiosks, and you start entering your information. Turn around, and there's your food. It's happening, folks. It's going to happen, and it's affecting all the sectors. All the sectors. Now, I see it happening here in the pharmacy sector. And folks, if you're not prepared, if you are not prepared to deal with that, if you're not prepared to get ahead of that, then when that time comes, pharmacist, boom, thank you, glad to have you, glad to have known you, but they're out the window, because again, the robot will do it better. The robot will grab it. The robot will accurately count it. They'll grab the right information. They'll compare it, make sure that the pills aren't broken, that they are the accurate ones, the correct ones, that they are, again, the count is correct, so no one gets shortchanged. And then they go into the correct bottle, so you don't run into that situation with Mr. Gower. Remember that from It's a Wonderful Life, the pharmacist there, when George Bailey was young George Bailey, and Mr. Gower loaded up poison because he was upset and he wasn't thinking right. Well, minimizes that nonsense, gets rid of that nonsense. Right? So again, it's one of those things that, hey, innovation is coming, and innovation, unfortunately, also means that it's going to axe some jobs. They're going to get axed. They're going to get chopped away. They're going to get taken away. They're going to no longer exist. And for those individuals that are doing the jobs now, are you prepared to deal with the aftermath of the robot coming in? Another example, real quick one, Darman, remember that? Those videos, the situations and stuff like that. But if you go to his YouTube page, you're going to see how many videos he has. And then, of course, there's other individuals. So where am I going with these videos? They're training videos. They're training videos, human nature training videos. So what's happening is he's getting ahead of it. He's getting ahead of it. He's creating this huge library. Yeah. And he's doing something now to get ahead of that. So the same thing with what I do, I got to get ahead of it. What you do, you've got to get ahead of it, because again, the robots are coming, and it's not a conspiracy theory. They are already here. It's already happening. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with NowRX, I suggest you look it up. they are raising funds and they want to expand and they want to make it better. And by making it better, what are you doing to make yourself better? So something to think about, not just you leaders, but also your team. You have to be guiding your team because one day that team will be replaced. It is that simple. So get to work, study, work now. Put in the work now because again, tomorrow, if you're not ready, you're going to wonder what happened. It's that simple. Okay, we're at that point in the show where we now talk about a leadership issue. And in this case, leaders, we're talking about time. T-I-M-E. Not the spice, not the herb, but time. The clock is moving. The clock is ticking. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear the second hand moving away. The clock's right up there. Alrighty, so that being said, time. Leaders, you know you hate it when people waste your time. I promise you, your team will hate it when you waste their time. Don't put yourself in a situation where you are wanting to meet with someone and they rearrange their schedule or they find the time to meet on your terms, on your time frame, and then you cancel. And then you expect them again to work on that? No. That's the wrong answer. The correct answer is, when is it good for you to meet again? When is you, the leader, will ask those individuals you wanted to meet with in the first place, when is it good for them to meet with you again? When is that second opportunity going to happen? Because if you come back and says, well, I have to cancel this one because I've got something more important than you, but I can meet you on this day, at this time, and it's like, well, that's just being a bully. That's being nonsensical. That's not being a leader. That's not being a genuine leader. It's not being an authentic leader. That's not being a passionate leader. That's not being a compassionate leader. Because yeah, if they worked around your schedule and then you're demanding them again to work around your schedule, then guess what? You're not really a leader. You're more of a manager, a bully manager. And that's not a good thing. So, again, no. And I understand. Maybe that's all you have. I get it. But give them more than one option. Reach out to them and say, hey, look, I'm sorry. Can we reschedule? And unfortunately, this is my schedule. What works for you? And if nothing works for you, then you need to sit down and say, okay, well, what's going to work? What is your time of availability? Maybe I could work something out, or maybe we could stay a little bit late or come in a little early and meet. But don't just give up because they choose not to meet with you again. Because again, you're the one that set it up. You're the one that had this time frame. You're the one that said, okay, let's do it. And then you back out and you cancel. How is that fair to the other party? Leaders, that is just bad management. Bad time management, bad management as a manager, bad people person, I wouldn't even say bad leadership because it doesn't even qualify at the level of leadership. So quit being a bad manager and communicate with people. Ask them what you can do for them. Ask them what time works for them. Ask them when it's good. But again, don't be wasting people's time, especially if you know you're going to not be able to meet that time frame that you set, that you're not able to do it. I understand. Again, things happen, emergencies happen, but understand that it's two parties involved. It's a dialogue, not a monologue. No, monologues are for managers. Dialogue is for leaders. So reach out and get that under control. Because again, you hate your time being wasted. I guarantee you they hate their time being wasted. And I promise you, I detest my time being wasted. It is that simple. So it's mutual. We all agree. Wasting time is terrible. So don't do it. Okay, everybody, here we are. We're at the end of this episode. Now, that was a lot of information, a lot of stuff. But I do hope you enjoyed the show. I do hope you enjoyed the series here. And again, don't hesitate. Reach out. There's all my social media content up here. And reach out. Let me know what you think of the show. Leave comments down below. And guess what? Down below also, in the description of this episode, is my social media contact information. So again, let me know you're watching the videos. Let me know what you think. I mean, I'm not putting this out there just to hear crickets. I want to have that dialogue with you because I really truly mean it. How do I get better if I don't hear from you? And if you're not telling me anything, then I must be doing the most perfect thing in the world. It is that simple. So again, that's how we grow. Dialogue, not monologue, but dialogue. So again, this is The Weekly Leader. I'm Dave Guerra, author of The Walking Leader and Great to Follow, and a couple of other books too. And be sure to come back next week where we come up with another topic and 2 more stories, and we'll have a grand old time. But in the meantime, listen, you take care, be the best leader you can be, keep growing, keep learning, because that's the only way we become awesome leaders. And don't forget to be a great follower too, because that's the other thing that you need to be a great leader, is to be a great follower first. All right, listen, I'll talk to you next week. You take care.